Well, I don't ever use them. I don't ever need them, but I remember using them a lot.
Yeah, me too. When they
to
came
do
out.
things, bounce things around with them and stuff. Once digital came in.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
My
mean.
bitter enemy, digital technology. I hate it. It wrecked the world.
No. Just a little bit closer there.
1, 2, 3. Level, level, level. 1, 2, 3.
So,
Human voice level. 1, 2, 3.
we're rolling. Depends whenever you're ready.
All right. We're here at Jazz Live San Diego with James Harmon. James, welcome to Jazz Live San Diego.
Well, I appreciate that. It's great to be here.
So I wanted to start with congratulations about your contributions to Remembering Little Walter, which was just nominated for Best Blues Album Grammy Award.
How about that? I didn't know. Didn't have a clue.
Did not have an idea about that.
Mark Hummel's an old buddy of mine. I do a lot of his blowout tours. And he called me up and said, "Are you available in January?" I said, "Yeah, I get back from Europe December the 4th. I'm available in January. As usually I'm home all winter, you know." And he said, "Can you come do some blowout dates remembering Sonny Boy Williamson this time?" And I said, "Okay, I'm game for that." He told me a little detail about it. And then he's, "Oh, by the way, I believe the Little Walter project is going to be nominated for a Grammy." And I said, "Well, that's crazy, man. All I did was show up and play a live gig, so, you know, I'm not involved." The real hero there, besides Mark Hummel putting it together, the real hero would be Kid Anderson, who engineered the whole thing. What a nightmare that guy went through.
Because it was a live concert with a lot of
the
different
employees of that nightclub, I believe it was
Anthology.
called Anthology. One of them knocked something over and ditched his computer and broke it, and they lost all their files. So Kid Anderson had to piece it all back together to make an album out of it.
Wow, and that is a pretty good story then, that would then become a Grammy nominee.
And the way it always is, you write the hit song on an envelope when you got 5 minutes left over.
Well, let's then talk about the band that you've got with you tonight, the James Harmon Blues Band that's playing at
We
Jazz.
never use that evil word blues.
James
You
Harmon
say.
Band.
When I went to Chicago in '65, I met Paul Butterfield and Charlie Musselwhite. And Charlie was 2 years older than me. I was 18. He was 20. Butterfield was a year older than him. Butterfield had just stopped using Butterfield Blues Band and just started using the Butterfield Band. He said, "Oh man, get rid of that word. That just steers all the people that don't know anything about blues away. They think it's some old tired, slow stuff. And so don't use it." I've never used Blues Band in the name of my band.
Really? So you go by the James Harmon Band.
James
Thank you.
Harmon Band says it all in jazz and country and blues. It's just the artist and his band. You know.
Well, that is really fantastic, actually, to kind of break down those genres by not even referencing them at all.
I'm a big definitions guy. As we move through this, you'll probably hear me throw a flag down on it.
On every definition
No,
that comes
just a
up.
couple. People say things wrong, you know.
Uh-huh.
People say band when they mean group. A group is a group of musicians, usually rehearsing in a garage to hope to get a bar gig that they can play somebody else's songs for drunks, whereas a band is professional musicians hired by an artist. An artist is a person with a recognizable voice. Comes on the radio and you say, "That's Bobby Bland,"
Or that's James Harmon.
whatever. Yeah.
You've tried to work toward that.
Well, no, you can't work toward that. I don't believe you can learn to sing, and I don't believe you can develop a style. I believe you're born, God touched you and gave you a voice, or He didn't. And if you got good ear, you can learn to sing better than you did, but I don't think you can learn to sing, you know, like sell the song. You can sing along with it, but nowadays they try to make music into a competition or sports. I'm not into any of that.
Well, are there other words that get associated with you or your music that you're not too fond of?
No, that's a good start there. Let's move ahead.
Excellent.
Whatever
Okay.
you want to know.
Well, then let's talk about your band members that you've
Okay.
got with you tonight that are playing with you. Who do you got with you?
Well, this would be the regular band. This is Nathan James playing guitar, and then on his solo spots, he does harmonica and kazoo and guitar and sings. And then you got James Michael Tempo, who is a world-class percussionist. He's probably on 1,000 records. He plays about 150 pieces of African and South American percussion. And then you got Troy Sendo, who plays bass and harmonica and can sing backup. And you got Marty Dodson, who plays trap drums and can sing some backup.
So I was reading a little bit about you and your music, and there was particular reference to Nathan James and your relationship with him, that you've played with him for quite a while.
He's been with me since he was 19. He's 35. So he came along right after another guitar player from Fallbrook, the same town, Fallbrook, California. Robbie Eason was a great guitar player. He came in at 17. At 23, decided to go off the road, get married, settle down, meet the right girl. And he told me when he left, he said, your next guitar player is right behind me at Fallbrook High School. His name is Nathan James. And within a year or so, I met Nathan, and he was 19, and sure enough, there he was. Best guitar player I know.
And what is it about his style that fits with you in particular?
He's a guitar player. When you sing, he backs you up. He understands the phrasing and the mode, and he always gets the correct voicing to go with the song. He's a musician. He's not just a guy banging on a guitar waiting for you to shut up so he can get his turn to solo. That's not my idea of a musician. That's just a guy in a band.
So, so then let's talk a little bit about yourself, and let's go back a bit. You mentioned being in Chicago and meeting some of those folks, and then kind of getting into a scene there. But you started out in down south in Alabama.
Correct. I'm from Anniston, Alabama, and my mother put me on piano lessons when I was 4 years old, and I sang in the church choir. At 16, we moved to Panama City, Florida. I walked out of the church choir, started singing about women for money, and that's all I've ever done in my life.
So was that a big switch for you? I imagine it was, moving from the church to the street, or to the into
No,
blues,
not so much.
into blues music.
If you have the gift of voice and you can sing, all you do is take out the word Lord and put in the word baby or mama or woman, and it's pretty much the same thing. It's all about from the heart and not some contrived stuff. I don't sing about science fiction or rocket ships or robots. I don't know anything about that.
Well, and then so how does growing up in the South, does that make you more in tune with this kind of music, this blues music, if we're going to call it blues?
We'll call it blues, and it certainly does. When I was 17, I put on a fake mustache and was snuck into a black nightclub to see Little Junior Parker. I don't think there's anybody else in the building that can say that. And, I was at the table with the other 3 white people in the room, let's put it that way. So that's the life I chose, and that's what I've done all my life. I've never, within the next few months, I saw Little Milton, B.B. King, Bobby Bland, James Carr, O.V. Wright. I saw all the great R&B singers. I learned from that, and I knew that's what I want to be. So that's what I did, and that's all I've ever done.
So you recorded a string of singles early in your career, kind of around that same time that you were starting there in Florida, and then jumped around a little bit: Chicago, New York, Miami, New Orleans. Was there anything in particular you were looking for, other than just experience during that time?
A place to live that was comfortable and safe, and I could make my music and make a living at it. Chicago's too cold. New York was way too cold. Miami was too dangerous. I was in the shower and I heard a machine gun go off in the parking lot. New Orleans was way too dangerous. I had people shot right at the street in front of my house. I finally gave up, and at the suggestion of some other musicians that I had, I moved to California, dug in, made my home here. I've been here ever since.
And so that move to Los Angeles.
Never went to Los Angeles.
Oh, Southern. Where were you?
Went to West Covina, then Pasadena, then Long Beach, and then Orange County. Never stopped off in L.A. I hate L.A. I don't ever go there.
So all around it, you've made the circle around it.
Yeah, I used to drive around Los Angeles to get to a gig in the Valley or something because I didn't want to go through Los Angeles.
Well, you came here, and it sounds like some of what you were associated with were some of the members of Canned Heat were some of the impetus for being here and helping you get here, and that movement of people playing that kind of blues here in Southern California. Was
being a record collector? Canned Heat came in '68, and they played at a place in Miami called The Image, and then they played the Highlight Stadium the next year. And I went out and saw them, and we hit it off. We were like-minded record collectors, love the blues. I knew a lot of stuff they didn't know because I was living in the South, and they were just looking at the South. At the same time, they went down to Texas, and they got my old buddy Albert Collins and talked him to come into California, and they talked me into coming to California. So I brought my band out from Florida, and we went to California, and sure enough, we opened 100 shows for Canned Heat, 70, 71, 72, 73, till they all started dying off.
Well, and then as part of your life here in California, you also backed a lot of traveling musicians who came into town as a backing band for them. And
Yeah, there were really 3 blues bands in Southern California that worked. It was me, Rod Piazza, and Juke Logan. The 3 of us had bands. And Ed Pearl at the Ash Grove would ask me, can you come in and do a week? Back then a gig was 6 nights. Can you do a gig and back up whoever you want to bring? Big Mama Thornton, Big Joe Turner, Clean Head Vincent, Lowell Fulson, whoever. And so I would do a week at the Ash Grove backing up one of those people. Then if somebody came to town that had a band, we'd be the opening act. So essentially every blues artist that was still alive I got to know, be friends with, open for, or back. And it was a great experience and big learning process.
and you've had you've done a lot of recording on your own, but it doesn't it seems like we haven't seen a new album from James Harmon since I don't know, 2003, 2004.
Another big story. Back in the Panama City days in the 60s, I put on good shows for about 2 years, and what they called a talent scout back then came and gave me what they called the tap. And he said, "You're doing real good, you need to make a record." They took me to Atlanta, Georgia, and I recorded at Kentel Studios on Peachtree Street, and I had a series of 9 singles out, 45 RPM records, from then on through the 60s, before I ever made an LP. The idea there was you made 12 singles, then you put out an LP of those singles. And so I made 9 45s and moved on, And none of that helped me in the least, because these were on small southern labels. And that's why you can't find those records now, is those guys would go in and